Boker Tov and good morning. I'm Rabbi Steve Moskowitz of Congregation Lador Vador, and this is Monday Musings, a spiritual kickstart to the week. I am joined this morning on my morning show, as I like to call it, by my friend and colleague, Rabbi Judith HaLevy, who served as the rabbi of the Malibu Jewish Center and Synagogue for 21 years, and now, of course, she is the Rabbi Emeritus. Currently, she's the rabbi of the Taos Jewish Center in New Mexico. She lives, however, in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So Judith and I have been friends for some 13 years since we started in the Shalom Hartman Institute Rabbinic Leadership Initiative program that first summer in Jerusalem. I guess it was like 2007, if I'm doing my math correctly. So it was really, it's been great to be friends, and to that 3 years was really an incredible and special part of my learning and my connection to Jerusalem, and of course, making such good friends as Judith. So I thought I would have Judith on here, and I want to give a special thank you to Judith for waking up extra early. It is 9 o'clock in New York, of course, but it's 7 a.m. by you. And so she had to get up and have her morning coffee much sooner, much earlier than I did. And I said, so that is certainly a good friend. So thank you, Judith, for waking up so early to be on this program and show. Judith has always struck me as someone who's deeply spiritual, has a great connection to the spirit. I have, just great memories of singing Nigunim with you, singing with you at Hartman in Jerusalem. And I thought I would have Judith on the program to speak a little bit about, how are we dealing with the spiritual challenges that we are confronting these days. So Judith, I want to lean on you and to offer some advice, both to me and to whoever is watching here on Facebook. How do we deal with these challenges that we've been confronted with in the last months and years?
Well, first of all, good morning. And it's a beautiful early morning here in Santa Fe. And in back of me, that's my garden and my grapevine. And it's probably the first way that I deal, which is the fact that, thank God, I can be outdoors and work with plants and work with nature. And for those of us who have been really at home, the first spiritual world of the morning is to get up and say, Mada ani lefanecha, and mean it. I give thanks before you. I do that every morning when I come out here, say good morning to my plants. If they don't get watered in New Mexico, the sun will fry them by noon. And it's a physical connection with the world around us. It's been very difficult for people who are in apartments and who are separated from the physical world. And I have found that that's been my lifeline. I live in a place now that's particularly beautiful. And I returned to New Mexico because of its beauty and the love I have for especially the Taos Valley. And being able to at least access, and whether you go on a bike ride, whether you're hiking, the world continues to have weather, as you know, but sunrise, sunset, we are aware of where we are physically.
So you get up each morning and you tend to your plants?
I get up each morning, I'm out here tending to the plants, and it's a prayer for me. And I do my early morning, earliest davening is really, thank you, plants, thank you, water, thank you, thank you. And so rather than be self-focused about, another day, and how am I going to do this? And I have 6 Zoom things to do. I make sure that I have an outdoor time, which is right back me. So that's the beginning. But of course, it's so difficult to keep a connection with both our congregants and even family lives scattered around the world. I have a son in Madrid and my daughter's in Washington. DC. And the pain of that is difficult. And we are, on one hand, we are slaves to the fact that we need to be on a phone. And what happens when your phone's not working? But it has been so important for everyone to call people up and say, I love you. And just remind them. And I've heard from people I haven't heard from in years, and everybody has that story.
Yeah, I think there's an important part. I mean, part of why for those who might be, regular watchers, you'll see that I'm in a different environment now. I had to come to the office early because I still don't have internet at my house. And so this is a tremendous amount of disconnect when you don't have the tools of technology in terms of staying in touch with your family and having those phone calls. We have horrible cell phone reception by our house without the internet. So we can barely talk to people and barely stay connected. And that's incredibly challenging, I think, for us. So there's when the tools of technology work, it does shrink that distance between family members. I caught up with a friend who also lives in Barcelona in Spain as well, and we wouldn't have taken the time to do that, except for that we were both, sheltering in place in our respective homes, and we're like, why not? Let's reach out to each other. I want to go back a little bit though to nature. You know how connected I feel to nature, but I think you have much more intention about how you connect to nature. I mean, is the physical part of working with the plants, is that an important part?
It's very important, and that we realize that we are part of this cycle. And endlessly, it strikes me, yes, we're at a time of the virus and we're home and we're sheltered. And meanwhile, the seasons are passing. So I walk every day. I'm lucky. Where I live, there are paths up into the woods. And I'm able to slow down and see, oh, look, there are buds on that thing. Oh, look, those turned out to be almond trees. And so there has been that slowdown process that has forced me, because where else am I going? I'm not doing anything. I'm not getting in a car particularly. I'm really here while we're spread across the world, to slow down and watch this world go through its seasons. And that physical connection and understanding that God is in all of it, and that the prayers that we do are real, and that we are just a part of this breathing universe, has helped me personally tremendously.
So, many people think about nature and say, oh, there's a specific spot that I like to go to at least, once a month and just see but you seem to be describing almost going to the same place and noticing new things.
Right.
And that's, I think, a very helpful message. Like, go on the same walk in a sense, and every day it changes and the world renews. And I think I'm finding that very, very helpful because, honestly, going for a walk, I sometimes feel in my suburban neighborhood. I'm like, that's okay. They painted their house. That's like the new revelation, so in our neighborhood. But you're talking about noticing things in nature, which I think is quite beautiful. And the power of walking the same path.
Same path, different time of day. Bunny rabbits were out last night. It was like, wow, there's a lot of bunnies out here. What does that have to do with my Judaism? The world is created kol yom ma'aseh bereshit. Every day the world is created anew. And for us right now, every day is different. I mean, we live in a time when the news cycle is so threatening, and the level of anxiety, let's face it. And then something happens to your technology. I mean, who needed that storm, right? And
we did not, I promise you.
This will continue, and we know it will continue. So how do we ground ourselves? I try to do some personal writing every day. And I think just the morning journaling really helps. And of course, then we are, especially as clergy, connected more than ever to people who need us. And everybody's got a story. And we do hear these stories, and people need to know they can call you. We were laughing about, I said, no, I'm retiring. I'm not on Facebook, and I'm not, which is, unusual, but they can reach you. And that's important. You never give up your congregation, even though you make room. And it was important for me to leave and leave room for the next rabbi. But we're still there in the times of crisis. And if you're their rabbi, Steve, you're going to be there for them no matter what. And that's the important part.
Well, I've been at the synagogue actually now 21 years, so
there you go.
I understand that length of time. I have to say, we were talking a little bit about this beforehand. The technology and the tools that we've been pushed to use has made it easier in some ways to connect with our congregation.
Right.
I never would have been doing Monday Musings, if not for the pandemic. And I should give credit to my brother, who came up with the idea first, and now I'm doing it as well. But that's Rabbi Michael Moskowitz, for those who don't know. So, it's made it easier to connect with people. And we've also found there's more people participating in services on Zoom, because it's again, the barriers to participation are much, much easier. However, I feel in some ways that, many times when I'm officiating, both at happy and sad occasions, that I'm officiating with an arm tied behind my back because I can't offer a hug, both of congratulations and consolation. I miss being able to just be close to people. 6 feet seems so foreign to me, and almost painful. In terms of the occasions. I mean, we're supposed to wrap our arms around each other and dance in a circle. I mean, if this is something that's quintessentially Jewish, it's the Hora. And the fact that we're denied that now is difficult. So you wanted to, I sense a response there.
Oh, it's just, I was known as the hugging rabbi, and and people would
You're
come
a good hugger
and just say, hi, no, I'm really here because I need a hug. And it was a joke after a while, right? They're not praying. They're here just to get a hug, right?
Right.
But that's that comforting presence. And when you can't do it, we were chatting before, when the fires happened in Malibu, I went back, and basically, what did I do? I think I hugged people for days who had lost their homes, etc. That was the only tool I had. But people need that connection. And we were also talking before about how, on one hand, the Zoom has enabled us to reach people that we could never reach before, and people have access to study that they haven't had before.
Yes.
So we were on Hartman this summer. We're used to going every summer, and frankly, I hadn't been for 2 years because I couldn't afford it, right? And once you retire, it's not that easy, I'm warning you. So they take the money away. But given that now it's on your dime, I could participate.
Yeah.
But 7,000 people registered, even if they took one class, and now their interest is piqued, right? And I believe that this is a turning point in Judaism. I do. We've been calling the Yavna moment, or the paradigm shift, where for a long time, the American Jewish community, and I'm a product of that, had a very low level of how did we reach out and educate past age 13. And that's no longer true. Anybody can study now. And Safaria will give you all the sources. You needed to have access to a huge number of books. I have books. My garage is filled with books.
Right.
I don't even use them because I look it up online, right? So that place, I believe, is a game changer, and that we will be a more educated Jewish population with more participation from people who will study together. And it's up to us as is to provide both the opportunity and to guide people. And of course, for ourselves, I never took a class on the book of Judges. I just took a class, right? Because I could. And this is vital. And I think this will be a positive change for the Jewish community.
There's no question that one of the things we've discovered is that, in a sense, everyone can go to Jerusalem and learn every summer. It's become much easier, and that's absolutely positive. Sefaria that offers all of the texts online, that both of us have our shelves lined with books, and I have several libraries of books. It's all there on our laptop. It's actually all there on my phone.
Yeah.
I don't even have to worry about carrying a computer with me to have access to everything. And that's extraordinary. And one of the things we've been talking about, there is no reason why family members who couldn't travel to our house in years past for Passover Seder, they should have been joining us on Zoom years ago. They should have been with us, on the screen and been there with us virtually. And the pandemic in some ways has forced us to use technology in a very positive way, and to be more inclusive, and to offer more access. And I agree that is positive. I hope, I'm sure we'll carry that forward once we're on the other side of this. I'm positive we will. But we do need to still be in the presence of friends and community, physically. For the time being, we are left to do some of the things that you've advised us. So I'd like to conclude and just remind everyone of, I think, the spiritual message that you offered, and that we can certainly do on our own. While we might not all have such a beautiful garden behind us, we can certainly tend to the garden and walk that same path. That was the image that I'm very struck with. To go on the same walk. I'm not even talking about a hike. Just go on the same walk and notice different things. Even if it's at the same time of day, each day will offer different revelations, in a sense, and different will offer different opportunities to recharge our spiritual batteries. And part of what we have to do is to create those intentions, so that we have to do it every day. We have to recharge our batteries every day. Put the news aside, as you suggested, in a way, and just go out and be at one with nature. So thank you, Judith, for joining me. Thank you for waking up so early in the morning. I'm extraordinarily grateful for your teachings and presence. I look forward to seeing everyone next week, Monday at 9 a.m. And again, to my congregation, if you are without power or without internet, I hope it is restored very soon so that we can stay connected. Boker Tov.